What happens around you? What happens away from you? On a grander scale, what happens around the world? Did you ever think about that before? Hello, I'm Eliza Chavez, and today I'll be presenting on International Climate Change Law. What exactly is International Climate Change Law? Let's dig in today. Keys to be answered are climate change is for weather to fluctuate between highs and lows, not only affecting the Earth's atmosphere, but even the very Earth we stand in. But how exactly? Where are the places that get affected the most? How can we aid them so that they can get back on their feet? Which country is doing its best? And can we follow in their footsteps? The past has many failures that have led us to today. Those problems. Why should it fall to us to change them? Can we even change them? Who should the blame fall to? Who exactly are we trying to help? Is it ourselves? Is it the Earth? Is it nature? Who? How does changing our habits, our ways, help alter our future? Why should we even care about climate change? Is it really that grave? Or are we overthinking? Causes and effects. Throwing out waste inappropriately leads to environmental consequences. The tree that is growing very high can burn down any second because of waste. From waste being thrown out, we don't know where it lands. We don't know if it lands in a small place, in a big place. Small amount can accumulate over time and just make it all go downhill. Industrialization is only being more and more quickly being done, and we take away our resources that we have because the earth cannot be put to rest so that it can grow back those resources. Those resources are eventually going to become a singular one resource that we're going to have to fight in order for it to grow. Kyoto Protocol. In 1997, it was seen that greenhouse gases levels were only rising from the 1990s and wanted to put a halt to it. So a proposition was made to lower those greenhouse gases by at least 5%. It was signed and approved by United Nations because that way we could all come together, no matter where, and together we could cultivate a new path to save our Earth. It used Japan's mechanisms towards lowering the emissions total that was seeping throughout the world. In 2012, once complications loophole arose, it ended. Now, one important element of the Kyoto Protocol was the establishment of flexible market mechanisms, which are based on the trade of emission permits. Under the protocol, countries must meet their target primarily through national measurements. This ties into the Open Skies Agreement. The Open Skies Agreement violated the ultimate goal of the Kyoto Protocol because the trading mannerism it was done in didn't lower the greenhouse gases emissions, but only transferred it from one country to another. The European Union thought it could seize hold of it because that's where it came from. But it became an international matter as it was flown between countries. To help with this, the United Nations again came together to form the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement's ultimate goal, formed in 2016, was to reduce the greenhouse gases produced. It took the elements of the Kyoto Protocol and became its successor, combining what cultures, regional adaptations that different countries had into one mannerism that they can all stem off of it and get better results. It used the Open Skies Agreement as an example forever so that it wouldn't happen again. Now that we have these protocols, where does that go to? In nature, disposing these dangerous liquids and gases affect what we have now by outpouring poisonous liquids, gases, burning fossil fuels into the earth, into its atmosphere, into our lives, only makes it worse. Because, like deforestation, it would only decrease what we have. It would only decrease its ability to breathe. In this picture, we have a lung. Deforestation means we're taking the Earth's precious lung. Because they cannot breathe, neither can we. Contaminating whatever is around it makes people lose their habitat. Marine life loses their habitat. Wildlife loses their habitat. A great example is polar bears. Because of how they have lost their home, they have lost their food resource as the ocean was contaminated. They're fending off every day just to survive another. Their bodies cannot handle this constant rate of changing, as they were never meant to do that. They were never meant to simply change and change and change. For humanity, what does that mean? Our clear skies that we see, our good day that we have, our starry nights are looking glim. Just as now, living inside the atmosphere because of a pandemic would only continue if the atmosphere that we have outside cannot be seen otherwise. We are not going to be able to breathe the weather conditions outside. We're not going to be able to afford living anyway outside. Population added as well is at a higher risk because more and more is being outputted and nothing's being inputted towards the earth. Now, for it to change, would only destroy what we have had. Just like planting, there will be weeds if not taken care of. It will only be dug out and spread what we cultivated. Our past shape our present because different ways of living, there will be huge adaptations to be made and people discovered different ways to do things. US is made up of different backgrounds. Freely following one certain way is hard. Cry for help. Just like when your body cries and gets hot from fever as it tries to defend itself, cooling is needed to not overwhelm it, so does the earth. Regions, customs, weather patterns all affect different places. Education plays a part to overcome these barriers. Kiribati is a country where aid is needed. Sweden has found fruitful actions into changing its settings. Why should we care? Why should we not care? We always glisten to the future, but don't contribute to it. International changes would help change internationally. Reality is better because, as seen in these photos, what we couldn't see before, we can now see. Here's my references guide. Thank you.